If you want to support our show directly, pick up some tickets to this year's Hometown Haunts and Hops Horror Convention, returning to Mayflower Brewing Company on Saturday, September 21st. We'll be celebrating the 35th anniversary of the legendary HBO series Tales from the Crypt with our marquee guest, the Crypt Keeper himself, John Cassier. As the only horror convention on the South Shore of Massachusetts, this one-of-a-kind event promises a spine-chilling experience, blending celebrity guests, live podcasts, ghastly decor, and of course, delicious beer from Mayflower Brewing Company. If you're a fan of all things spooky, this is the place to be. Tickets are available for just $25 at inebriart.com/events. That's inebri-art.com/events. And returning to sponsor Haunts and Hops this year are our friends at Halloween New England. HalloweenNewEngland.com is the website for the truly Halloween-obsessed. With the most extensive guides to New England haunted houses, ghost tours, classic horror film screenings, jack-o'-lantern festivals, haunted hayrides, and more, they've got all the thrills covered throughout September and October. With over 2,500 Halloween events and attractions listed, HalloweenNewEngland.com is the only place you'll find absolutely everything you need to make your Halloween season epic. Now, let's get on with the show. Tonight's episode of America's Hometown Horror is brought to you by our friends at Fangoria magazine. That's right, the first name in fright since 1979 is now an affiliate of America's Hometown Horror. And because of that, we can now offer you an exclusive 20% discount on any first-time magazine subscription or merchandise purchase by heading over to shop.fangoria.com and using the code HometownHorrorPod at checkout. That's shop.fangoria.com/HometownHorrorPod, or just use the code HometownHorrorPod at checkout for that exclusive discount on anything from Fangoria. Tonight's episode of America's Hometown Horror is also brought to you by our friends at Horror Facts Magazine. Never heard of Horror Facts Magazine? Well, if you're a horror fan, they're a name that you absolutely should know. You can find them over at horrorfactsdotcom, and they're a great resource for all things horror, including news, reviews, editorials, and lots of other horror podcasts, not only limited to, but including America's Hometown Horror. So head on over to horrorfacts.com and check them out. Now, let's get on with the show. All right, hello, good evening, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of America's Hometown Horror. My name is Mike. I'll be one of your hosts this evening, and if you're out there, dear listener, please help me. I don't want to die in Canada. Please send help. But first and foremost, here's where you can find us online if you're interested in such things. First place is our website, which is ahhpod.com. That's ahhpod.com to find out more about the show. You can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for America's Hometown Horror, and you'll find us. You can also email us at hometownhorrorpodcast@gmail.com and leave us a voicemail at 508-927-1267 if you want to have your voice heard right here on America's Hometown Horror. And, of course, the most important thing you can do for us is to give us a like, a subscribe, and a review, preferably a 5-star review if you think we do a 5-star job. Best thing you can do for us, as I said, to help the show get out there to more people, to more horror fans just like yourselves. And last but certainly not least, thanks to our buddy Shaun O'Loughlin at Skywheel Media, who's now handling all of our audio and music production and engineering. Thank you, as always, to Shaun, who's doing a bang-up job making us sound great. And as I mentioned, I think on the last episode that we recorded, we are super happy to have Shaun and his podcast, You're Not Listening, be a part of Haunts and Hops 2024 this coming September. So we're looking forward to seeing him there, as always. All right, folks. Now that I have that stuff out of the way, why don't we get right into the meat on the bones here? And it's always good to have the original All Four crew back in studio or on hand, I should say. The Fantastic Four. How about that? You just heard Miss Fantastic, Catherine. Hello, welcome back.
Hello.
This is this topic tonight. I had a feeling that you would either love this movie or hate this movie, and I know that you fall on one side of that fence. So I'm happy to hear you. Happy to have you back. To talk about this movie.
This was the side of the fence I fell on.
Yes, absolutely. And obviously, Andrew and Matt are both here. Gentlemen, good evening.
Hello,
what's
everybody.
up? How we doing?
Glad you joined the Nazi party.
The Nazi party. That's correct. Yeah,
I've got the suds.
Yes, absolutely. So what's going on, guys? How's everybody doing?
Yeah, just enjoying the August is burning red, my friend. So we're getting.
I can't believe August is
Good band.
flying by.
Yeah.
Dude, we're about to be in. Well, we're in preseason football season. We're about to be like fucking full on football season.
We're about to be in
son.
Patriots 16.
Full on.
Sucks.
Yeah, seriously, it's not going to be pretty for Patriots fans, but we don't really have too much to complain about because we had a lot to celebrate here in the last 20 something years.
We just had a basketball
You know what
championship.
sucks?
What's that?
I bought a Matthew Judon jersey last season before the season started, and now it's fucking useless.
You can still wear it.
I'm going to because it's a sick jersey, but
Yeah.
just annoying.
He still did a lot for the Patriots while he was here.
Yeah, it was
As
awesome.
of this recording, he was just traded.
You should just have someone stitch underneath the number so it's Judon and then Chop at the bottom. That'd be kind of cool.
Judon Chop. Like it.
Just saying. Might
Very,
be a
very
good way to make use of that jersey.
Yeah. But football season coming up upon us soon means fantasy football drafts are upon us soon if you're a fantasy football player out there. And that means that maybe we'll have to do some sort of a draft to kick off football season when that time comes.
Ah, yes. Yes.
But I'm not sure what order these episodes are going to come out because we've been ahead of the game for the last month and a half. It's actually been pretty good. So again, no news tonight. I do want to cover some watch list stuff just for time's sake because I think we all have some things that we can cover here.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, at this point, in some order, okay, let me start with this actually. So as of this recording, this past week, we had our episode released where we had Andy Driscoll of Inebriart on our show to talk about Eat Locals, which was a movie that I don't think any of us really enjoyed super thoroughly, but Andy, it was a fun conversation with Andy. Good to go over to Middleborough to his new studio and hang out there and talk. And more importantly, it was an awesome experience being on the Inebriart podcast for the second time and having Andy talk to us about, the show, Haunts and Hops, all kinds of stuff. I had a chance to listen back to that. And we spent a lot of time talking about the things that make us cry, gentlemen. That was pretty entertaining to listen back to.
We're a bunch of pussies.
What?
Yeah, no,
I did not listen to that episode.
you'll have to listen to it. But
things that make you cry.
the topic came up about how Matt and I were talking about how soft we've become since having becoming dads and how little things can make us kind of be like, oh my God. Then we talked about a bunch of different things. Andy talked about it too. So we talked about a bunch of different stuff. It was a wide ranging conversation that lasted, I think, a lot longer than Andy had anticipated, but
It's a lot of talk.
it was pretty good. Yeah, it was went on for an hour and a half. We talked about a lot of stuff. It was a lot of fun. And you should totally go over to the Inebriart podcast page and listen to that episode in addition to listening to us. That was a blast.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was super happy to go and do that. That was cool.
And I think, Matt, Andy said that you are the most returned guest of all time on Inebriart. That was your fourth or fifth appearance, right?
I guess so. Yeah. So that's cool.
Look at how fucking special you are, my friend.
He's like Dr. Watley from
Dr. Watley. Yep.
I've been on it for so many different things between the first podcast I had playing music. I think I was on. I had to have been on for something else, and then we did there was a bunch of different spots I did when I was cooking downtown that I would show up for and stuff like that. So, can you guys hear me? Okay.
You're a little light, but for the
light,
most part,
okay.
yes.
You're a little soft. I'd like you a little harder.
You mentioned something about an arm wrestling thing you were on there one time for too, I think.
Yeah, they used to do an arm wrestling competition in downtown Plymouth with all the restaurants. And I never did it, but I always went and cheered on my Speedwell brethren and sistren.
Brethren and sistren.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Well, yeah, that was a lot of fun. And we'll be seeing a lot of Andy as we lead up to Haunts and Hops, which is just about a month away, which is kind of crazy to think about. And there'll be a lot of stuff going on there as we have teased on social media and as I'm sure you've heard already. Kat.
Yeah.
It's great to have you back.
Thanks.
How are things?
Things are good.
You enjoying your summer?
I am enjoying my summer. I'm trying to get in the sun as much as I can now that it's actually comfortable out and not just I can't leave the house weather. It's so hot and humid.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, my summer's been very good.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting August. It's been very nice.
Yeah.
It hasn't been usually August is hot as balls.
No.
This is how we know.
Weather talk.
This is how we know we're uncomfortable until we jump into
No,
things.
I'm not uncomfortable. I'm
Weather
just saying
talk.
it's been a very weird August. Usually August is the hottest, humid. Well, July is usually
July
worse.
usually
But
is,
August
yeah.
is usually August has been
Yeah, August is
absolutely
tough.
breathtaking.
Breathtaking.
Just saying.
My mom, shout out to Mary Walsh, has always just incorrectly, of course, always had the mindset that once August 1st hits, the summer is pretty much over.
It does have a weird.
Yeah.
You do get a weird feeling when August hits, though. It's like the end of summer. It's like summer dying slowly, just turning. It's like an ember burning out slowly as the month moves into September, and then you remember that it's September. Yes.
Yeah,
Something
I feel
like that.
I said to Mike, like on Sunday, I was like, we have a beach sticker. We barely used it this summer. We're going to the beach. It's August.
Well, how many times have you gone to the beach?
Me and Mike and Bridge, that was the first time this summer.
Yeah.
Wow.
All three of us together. Yeah. Yep.
I've been to the beach 3 other times.
Good thing about August, though, guys. Code Orange starts hitting all the stores, and Halloween stuff starts coming out, including Halloween candy, which I've bought already 2 bags of, including Werewolf Tracks Reese's cups.
And they're all gone.
They're all gone, and those taste pretty much just like regular Reese's cups with white tops. More interestingly, though, the Ghost Toast Kit Kats, which Andrew and I were talking about before we started recording here, they are cinnamon toast flavored Kit Kats with an orange cream on the outside. Not quite ready to call them as good as the Witch's Brew Kit Kats that are always out this time of year.
Just make sure when you say orange cream, it doesn't taste like orange. It's just the color orange.
It's like the color of like cinnamon.
It tastes like cinnamon toast crunch.
Yeah. Yes, it does taste like cinnamon toast crunch.
That's what it's supposed to taste like, right?
Oh, it's fantastic.
They're
delicious.
They're excellent.
It's
really
up
like
there. That's a top 3 Kit Kat now. I think it goes dark chocolate.
Love dark chocolate.
Witch's Brew.
Yep. Well, I didn't try this.
The Witch's Brew are bomb.
Witch's Brew. And then maybe the OG, but I think the dark chocolate Kit Kat anything dark chocolate is superior. Same thing with Milky Way Dark.
Milky Way Midnight.
Well, you're a big dark chocolate strong cider guy, so that makes sense.
The darker and the harder, the better.
I went to the Old Faithful liquor store today, and they had Down East cider donut ciders. I picked up a 4-pack for Kat, and they also had the pumpkin ones too, which are nowhere near as good. Cider,
they're good on draft. They're not as good in the can. Down East pumpkin is delicious on draft.
But I guess what I mean to say is that it's the season for we're getting into.
It's wild. It's a bit early for cider stuff.
Yeah,
and pumpkin stuff.
I
gotta say,
I don't think so. No, it's mid-August. We're mid to late August.
That stuff shouldn't be out until October.
We're mid-August. It's actually It's
pumpkin and cider can fuck right off.
I think September. September, like Labor Day weekend, is acceptable to me, but I can understand why companies are trying to capitalize on all this stuff early. I totally get it.
Because people are going to buy it. I told Kat, I saw like millions of
it's going to get in your
boxes
head
of the
because you're already talking about it's already in your head. They just accomplished their marketing. I'm
the prime example. Every single time I see something Halloween related in August, I'm putting it on our Instagram story, on our Instagram page, and usually buying it. So
great.
Yep.
So they did their job.
Yep, Spirit Halloweens are popping up all over the place, and life is good to be a horror and Halloween fan. Halloween fan, my friend. Fan, my friend.
Friend. Are you my friend?
Yeah. So anyway, before we dive into tonight's topic, which is an Andrew pick, a great Andrew pick, if I do say so. A great Andrew pick.
So you become great Andrew?
So I have 2 things that I've watched, one of which I know Andrew also watched, and the other of which I know Kat also watched. Matthew, do you have anything that you've watched that was worth talking about in the last week or so since we last recorded?
I checked out Love Lies Bleeding.
Oh yeah, Andrew saw this too. Yeah, okay.
That was really cool. I liked it. It was awesome. It was pretty. It's like softcore lesbian porn for a good 40 minutes. And then it turns in, it's very much, have you ever seen the movie Pain and Gain?
With The Rock
and
The
Rock?
Yeah, I have seen that actually.
It's a lot like that, where it's just kind of like people ripping steroids and accidentally killing a bunch of people. But it's also got a natural born killers kind of vibe to it. And then it goes pretty crazy. It was a very enjoyable, fun movie. It was intense. And then I watched a movie called Fade to Black. This is an 80s movie, 1980, I think.
Not a visual representation of the Metallica album, just a movie called Fade to Black.
Yeah, no, nothing to do with Metallica.
Is this Argento?
That was a yoke. Sorry, didn't land, but that's okay. Go ahead, Matthew. I need to interrupt you.
It goes. It's about this kid who's a total horror movie nerd, and like kind of a film nerd in general, and he just gets bullied all the time, and he ends up kind of taking on the personas of like Bela Lugosi. He like dresses up and goes to the movies, but he starts killing people that are bullying him, and it's fun. It's 80s cheese, but it takes itself fairly seriously. It's actually a pretty good underrated 80s horror movie. And then yesterday when I was like not feeling good, I went to bed early. I threw on just because we were talking about it in the Rotten draft, and then I saw yesterday it was like the anniversary of its release, so I watched Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday.
Nice.
Yeah, that's still a fun one.
Attaboy. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I'll go next. You guys can chime in, and then I'll go to you in case there's anything else that you watched. Andrew, I'll start with you. I have binged the entire 4th volume of Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix.
With Angela Lansbury.
With Angela Lansbury and without Angela Lansbury at the same time. That's a long-running joke on our show. So if you're an OG fan of this show, you might know where that joke came from. Go back and listen to our old episodes. That is like all-time classic.
We didn't kill that. We didn't kill that joke at all.
No, not at all.
Not like Brazzers or any of those jokes. We didn't kill that.
The one thing, Brazzers was another joke that we had long-running for a long time. We did actually find out from that joke that Angela Lansbury does have the same birthday as I do, October 16th. Dead. She's been dead for quite a while.
Word on the street too is that she also had absolute cannons. To tie in the Brazzers, but we're saying Brazzers and Angela. I feel like it's an ode to.
You don't think Angela Lansbury when you think of Brazzers, like
maybe you don't.
I don't, but Andrew does. That's okay. That's all that matters.
The way she solves a mystery would be like I can just imagine her solving something else.
I don't know what that means.
Okay.
The pain in my heart. She could solve that, baby.
We're all set with this.
Angela Lansbury, if only you were alive for a few more years, Andrew could have made you a very happy woman.
And you could have made me a very wealthy.
I feel like we were on the podcast when, like, we were podcasting recently, like, when she died. She didn't die that long ago.
We'll have to look it up and see when she died.
I don't think it was recent.
We'll figure it out. Anyway, long way of saying I've been a fan of this new iteration of Unsolved Mysteries since it came to Netflix. I think it's been very good the entire time, and I really did enjoy this 4th volume. Kat and I watched a couple of them, but you and I, Andrew, have seen all of them, right? But I mean, it does a really good job, just like always, of blending mostly true crime stuff with some supernatural stuff. Like this season has the first episode is a really, really good, concise, hour-long breakdown of Jack the Ripper, which I thought was a weird thing for Unsolved Mysteries to have, but it was actually like probably one of the most succinct Jack the Ripper stories or like summations I've seen of Jack the Ripper. And I love Jack the Ripper stuff. And I thought this one was really, really good. There's 3 true crime ones, and then the final one to end the season, which Andrew, I know you are as excited as I am to talk about. The final episode of the season is all about Mothman.
Love it.
Oh yeah, baby. Give me all the Mothman stuff.
I want to see the Mothman.
I don't think you do.
I do. I want to see the Mothman just so I can be like, I know you. I've seen you. You've been haunting Richard Gere for a long time. He doesn't like it. He's pissed. He's pissed.
They do say if you see the Mothman, that is it. It's a harbinger of doom. It means bad things are coming your way, or as the idiot on the TV show said, a harbinger of doom. Which I was like,
I didn't notice that.
Oh yeah,
harbinger,
like, harbinger of doom.
Harbinger.
Fucking, there's nothing worse. And Matt, we've talked about this a couple of times. When I listen to certain things and people just mispronounce words, and it drives me crazy. And I'm thinking of Colors of the Dark podcast.
Oh my god, yeah,
I do enjoy listening to quite a bit, but. Rebecca, you gotta learn how to pronounce some words, my friend. Love.
She's a professor.
Yeah, you're a college.
Do you think she does it intentionally?
No,
she might.
To be different.
I don't know. I really don't know.
What
I don't
words
think
are
so.
they?
I'd have to think about it.
They're random. They're very random.
They're like random. Like I hear them, I'm like, ugh. Like, what are you doing?
It's like comfortable. It's like it's comfortable.
I don't think I've ever heard her say comfortable.
That's what I would say if I was trying to butcher a word on purpose. Comfortable, maybe.
I don't know.
Come on.
But anyway, long way of saying the new season of Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix, very good. Absolutely check it out. I really enjoyed it, just as I always have that whole season. Matt, especially you would like it. Check it out. Good blend of true crime and supernatural stuff. Always fun. And Matt, I think you can chime in on this one as well. Kat and I did last night check out Abigail, finally.
Yeah,
And
Yes.
I really liked it a lot.
it was really good.
Yeah,
What did
movie
you
was
think,
cool.
Kat? So I would like to hear your opinion on this, Kat, because I know you knew almost nothing going into this, and I knew quite a bit about it, and I feel like knowing less going into this movie makes it a better experience.
Yes. I mean, I initially, we were downstairs and I was going to just diamond paint and hang out. And Mike's like, do you care if I throw this movie on? He told me what it was about. He's like, oh, it's Ballerina Vampire. And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Just put it on. And I ended up like stopping diamond painting so I could watch the movie.
She was
I was
like,
like,
"Ooh, I really
actually,
like
I
this."
kind of really like this movie. Like, I can't keep hunching over to like finish this thing to like, I want to watch this movie. So yeah, it was way better than I thought it was going to be. It had that like the vibe of like in that, can I go into detail or no?
I wouldn't spoil it, but like it was.
It
Give a
had
little
like
detail.
the vibe of like Clue and like a huge house with
Okay.
like different rooms
That's
and
not
whatever.
spoiling.
And like,
Yeah.
Clue?
yeah, well,
Interesting.
it was kind of like it was like a mix of different things that it kept my attention.
Yeah.
So it was way better than I thought it was going to be.
There's Mr. Raspberry in the water closet.
Mr. Raspberry?
Mr. Plum in the water closet. It's a
Doctor?
joke. I was
Is it
joking.
Doctor?
No,
With the lead pipe.
With the
yeah, with his
Colonel
lead,
Mustard?
with his lead pipe in the water closet.
Is Doctor Plum?
Smacking it
Is
down.
that a thing? No.
It's Professor Plum
Professor Plum. Yes.
and Dr. Doolittle.
Colonel Sanders.
Colonel Mustard. Colonel Mustard.
I thought it was Colonial Mustard.
Colonial Mustard.
But Abigail is the latest movie from the Radio Silence directing group, and they before this did the two most recent Scream movies, which I did not care for at all. And this movie, I think, was a return to form for them. This reminded me a lot of their movie Ready or Not, almost like too much. That's the only flaw I would really give it. But it's like, there's a lot of comedy, great ensemble cast. If you like, trapped in one location with like 7 very good actors and character actors that are kind of riffing off each other and some really cool twists, you'll like this movie. And I think this is like the less you know about it going in, the better.
So like a better version of Eat Local.
A better version of Eat Local for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is all I'll say for you eagle-eyed fans out there. This is a Universal movie with some monsters in it. That's all I'll say. Matt, I know you talked about this briefly because you saw this way before we did, but I forget what you thought about it. What did you think of Abigail?
No, I liked it. It was cool. It was better than I thought it was going to be. I kind of thought it was going to be like kind of lame and cheesy, but it was actually really fun. It's got some good gore. The characters are good. It's funny. Like I was like, it's actually funny. Like I was laughing because it's supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was like, I agree. It was like the Clue aspect to it. The trapped in the house. I also thought it was like a better version of Eat Local. But yeah, no, this movie was cool. This is definitely this could land on the top 10 for sure.
I think so too. And it was pretty funny, and I begrudgingly admit that because I can't stand him, even though rest in peace to Angus Cloud. I think this was the last movie that he was in before he passed away.
Angus Cloud.
So he's the kid that was in Euphoria and was really famous for that. Cat, I never watched it.
He was like a drug dealer in Euphoria.
I've never
He's
seen
kind of
that.
like, he plays like a, I don't know, like a.
Is his real name Angus Cloud?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was
Genghis
Fez
Khan.
in Euphoria, and he was like a drug dealer. He's this like little white Irish looking guy with like
Thuggy kid, like
thuggy kid with a track jacket, but like he's also kind of like an
It's like any
idiot.
kid you've ever met from like Weymouth.
he's
Sounds
like
like someone I hate.
he's like a lot of people I grew up with in fucking Randolph.
Yeah,
And Avon and Holbrook.
he looks like a kid out of the 90s.
Yeah.
Like literally.
Yeah, it reminded me way too much of people that I didn't really like in high school, and I was like, I kind of fucking can't stand this kid, but he also had some pretty good jokes in it. So
But he did really good. Like that's
His name's also Angus. So
Yeah, but that's not his. That's his name. Like that's not his name. Isn't
I know that's. I feel bad.
nice,
Angus Cloud.
nice strong Scottish name right there,
Yeah.
Angus.
Yeah.
Is he related to Mike Cloud,
The Beef.
The beef.
the former running back for
I
the
don't
Patriots?
think so.
I don't think he's related to
You
Mike
get off
Cloud,
of
the running
Mike
back of
Cloud?
the Patriots. Get off of Mike Cloud.
Hey.
Andrew, there you go, buddy. All right. So that's Abigail.
Deep
I would
dives.
highly recommend checking that one out because I think that will probably pop up on some of our end of year lists. Andrew, you should watch it too. I think you
Yeah,
Oh,
watch it. Andrew.
Abigail. It's definitely watching.
Abigail. What about you, Andrew? Watch anything cool?
Well, I watched Unsolved Mysteries. I think that's the first season I've seen since the first one because I didn't really care for the reboot of the Did they make it a change to the like intro, Michael?
So the intro has been the same for all 4 volumes.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So the music's a little
I never realized that you saw like Robert Stack's like.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Shadow in the
That's been
background.
in there since the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Mothman episode, fantastic. I think my favorite episode was the headless person. I think
Yes.
that one was very cool.
Yeah, that was a
I
really cool one.
really liked that one. I didn't really care for the Jack the Ripper one just because I feel like it's so played out. Like I'd like to hear more about what's his name? AHH Holmes. Only seen like one documentary on him. I'd like to see more. Can we get an unsolved mystery fucking episode about him? That would be sick.
They were supposed to do a TV miniseries, I think, or a movie
We
about
talked about this.
Devil in the White City, that
Mhm.
book that I read that time, which is about the Chicago World's Fair, while H.H. Holmes was also serial killing. And the last I had heard about it, Keanu Reeves was supposed to play H.H. Holmes. At one point, Leonardo DiCaprio was supposed to play him, and Scorsese was attached to it, but I don't think either of those things are happening anymore. So
And I don't think either of those I would have liked.
Keanu Reeves would have been weird. DiCaprio, I could probably see. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
DiCaprio can do anything. But
Can
the latest thing with DiCaprio, I don't know if we've talked about it in the podcast. Scorsese is directing a Frank Sinatra biopic with DiCaprio as Frank Sinatra, and that's going to make
Wow.
$100 bazillion fucking
yeah.
dollars.
Yeah.
It's going to be fucking awesome. So, yeah.
I don't see him as Sinatra though. It's a
You
weird
will.
perfect.
You will see him.
We'll
as
see.
Sinatra.
Have you guys seen the trailer for the Bob Dylan movie with Timothy Chalamet as Bob Dylan?
I've
No.
seen like, small snippets. Yes.
So when Chalamet's singing, it sounds like somebody doing an impression of Bob Dylan's
He
voice.
didn't
It's
do the
very
dub.
he's doing.
Well,
the
yeah,
dub.
of course it's going to sound like someone doing an impression.
Yeah,
It's
it
Bob
doesn't-
Dylan.
It didn't sound that great. He looks like him.
Well, let's be real. Bob Dylan sounds terrible when he sings. So
Yeah. Oh, also, by the way, off topic, way off topic. I saw in the news recently, and I fucking hate this idea. Apparently, they're going to be doing an Anthony Bourdain biopic
why?
with the kid, the young kid from The Holdovers, playing a young Anthony
What's a
Bourdain.
biopic?
A biography.
Biography movie.
Okay.
So they're going to do an Anthony Bourdain drama movie with the kid from
I
The
love
Holdovers.
Bourdain though.
I do love Tony Bourdain, but I just feel like it's
That's Tony. He knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we met.
we met him.
You know.
We met
did
him.
you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You have that
Yeah,
picture
we
with
met
him.
him. Yeah.
He
He's in here.
I feel
Bonnet.
like this is just
Come
something he would never want to see himself in a movie dramatized about himself. So I don't know. I have I'll obviously see it, but I have conflicted feelings. Anyway, long way of getting off topic. So yes, I understand.
What if they did a biopic of Phantom Gourmet? Would you watch that?
Phantom Gourmet.
I know that would be interesting.
Billy
Both, I mean,
Costa.
I
Yeah.
don't think so.
No, that's what's
That's
the Billy?
608.
No. Billy
Nine
Costa has that
Morning.
Nessun food show. What's it-
Oh, okay.
Oh shit.
Phantom Gourmet is the
Um,
Andelman brothers. Dandelman.
Dining
and,
playbook.
Dining Playbook. Oh, let's see what
Dandelman.
Nessun
Billy
did
Costa
there.
and
Ooh.
Kelly.
We're getting way off topic now.
Yes, we are.
We're talking
Anyway.
about nesting cooking shows.
All right. So what else have you seen besides Unsolved Mysteries? Anything good?
I watched that Netflix miniseries, Eric, the one with Benedict
Eric.
Cumberbatch, where he's basically like essentially like a Jim Henson type, like makes these Muppets drama. Takes place in the 80s. Pretty interesting story. Not horror at all, but a very I found it very enjoyable. It's only 6 episodes. Well worth it. It's a good time piece. I love 80s shit.
Same.
And it's got like Muppets. So
I'm a sucker for
The
Muppets
Muppets.
too.
I like
Yeah,
Muppets.
sucker for Muppets.
I like Muppets and Benedict Cumberbatch. I'm a sucker for him too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you think that if anyone didn't know that you had an English accent, that they would know that you weren't a very good actor?
And it's got underground people living underground of the city, which is also good. So.
Chuds, cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers.
They're not that. They're just homeless people. They're just
Chuds.
homeless people, but they're fine.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Cool.
Yeah,
All right,
that was
guys. Anything else we want to touch on before we dive balls deep into this topic du jour, our little film here tonight?
It's official. The critics' decision is in. Spooky World is spooktacular. Enter the new black hole. If you dare. Or the new horror House of Wax. This year, don't miss the real Jason, Bobby Pickett, or Alice Cooper. Phone the 24-hour Spooky World hotline. 508-838-0200. That's 508-838-0200. Spooky World is just west of Boston and haunts every night from October 1st till November 1st. If you had the nerve, you'd phone 508-838-0200.
It's America's horror theme park, Spooky World. Abington Alehouse. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. Eat, drink, and be scary. Go to bhmansion.com.
All right, we're back. Thanks for sticking with us through that little break there. And of course, tonight we return to an Andrew pick. And this is a very good one tonight. I have to say, Andrew, sometimes your picks are hit or miss for me.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
Well,
They're always hits.
a lot have been hits. Some have been misses. I think the only miss that I can think of that Matt hated was Come True. He didn't really like
he
that
wasn't a
movie.
fan of that.
That's
I didn't
okay.
like that movie. No.
I did not care
Butterfly
for it.
Kisses, I didn't like that much either.
Oh, see, I actually liked Butterfly Kisses. I like that.
Well, he doesn't really like a genre.
Fan footage. That's okay. But we're talking about Tusk tonight, obviously. This is a very weird, very strange, very funny, very quirky horror movie. And I mean, it's very strange, very weird, very quirky, just like most of Kevin Smith's other movies. And this is the first Kevin Smith movie that we've covered on this podcast tonight. I will give a little description of this movie first. But guys, I will ask you, Andrew, is this the pinnacle of walrus horror right here? Tusk?
Walrus horror.
Apex Mountain of walrus horror movies?
Think of any other walrus horror. I think it is. It's got to be, right?
I mean, the only other movie that I can think of that has a walrus in it is Alice in Wonderland. Little oysters. That's about it, right? Walrus and the Carpenter, right? I would really have to rack my brain to think about any other horror movies that have any sort of walrus representation in here. I don't know.
No, it's
So I would
original.
say
It's very
automatically,
original.
yes.
Bonus points for that.
Yeah, pinnacle of walrus horror right here.
On the wall of horror. It's a walrus of horror.
Very much a body horror movie, right? Which is right up your alley.
Mhm.
Very much a what's the word I'm looking for here? This is an actor piece, a drama piece, I would say, because a lot of this movie is just Justin Long and Michaelparks riffing off each other, which I feel like this kind of reminds me in certain ways of The Lighthouse, which I know another movie that you really love a lot that I really cared for. Matt, I know you're also not really a fan of that movie.
No, it was kind of boring to me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's some weirdness in here, but there's a lot to like. So we'll get into our opinions on this, but real quick, just in case you have not heard of this movie, if you want to know a little bit more about Tusk. Tusk is a 2014 American independent body horror psychological thriller film written and directed by Kevin Smith, based on a story from his Smodcast podcast. Say that 10 times fast. Smodcast podcast. The film stars Michael Parks, Justin Long, who is always great in everything that he's in, haleyjoelosment, who you may recognize from The Sixth Sense, although much older and much chunkier, Genesis Rodriguez, Lily Rose Depp, who is the daughter of a very famous actor, Harley Quinn Smith. Yep, that's a real name. That's the daughter of Kevin Smith. And, of course, starring as Guy Lapointe, and I think one of the finest examples of stunt casting that was unadvertised and hit a home run, Johnny Depp, playing Guy Lapointe. The film deals with an arrogant podcaster, played by Justin Long, who travels to Canada for an interview, and in the process meets an eccentric retired sailor, played by Michael Parks, with dark plans related to his obsession with a walrus named Mr. Tusk. The film, by the way, is the first in Smith's planned True North trilogy. So after this movie came out in 2014, there was a movie called Yoga Hosers that came out in 2016, which apparently is a sequel to this that also stars the two girls from the convenience store and Johnny Depp as Guy Lapointe. And apparently a forthcoming movie called Moose Jaws that is supposed to be coming out sometime in the near future, which Kevin Smith has basically said is, quote, Jaws with a moose. So there's that.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I'd fucking watch that.
Yeah.
Anyway, this was made on a budget of $3 million. And according to Kevin Smith, most of that budget was used to obtain the rights to use the song Tusk by Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
And it grossed only $1.9 million at the box office, making it a certified box office bomb in the eyes of critical people. It has a 46% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, which is how we came to want to talk about this movie, because we covered it on our Rotten Horror draft. Andrew is one of Andrew's picks, which criminally underrated. To that I say, critics. That means that 64% of critics have a big
53.
50
Yeah.
54
Oh, 50, 46.
54% of critics have a big dump in their pants. And surprisingly,
Big dump.
36% audience score, which I would say 67% of the audience has a big dump in their pants on that one. Guys, what the fuck are we doing here? You can rent this movie for $3, as I did when we watched this. And I mean, fuck, Tusk is just a fun, stupid, good old spooky time at the movies.
Yeah, I thought it was, yeah.
Yeah, Andrew, this was your pick. Lead us off on Tusk, my friend.
This is, so I think it's two types of movies. It's an homage to the corny 80s horror, early 90s horror movies where they're just absolutely ridiculous, just ridiculous premise, but so good. Like, well, I mean, Tourist Trap's well before this, but it's like the Wax Museum movie. What the fuck's that one?
House of Wax.
House of Wax.
Mhm.
Just a fucking silly, stupid. I mean, those movies are they try to be serious. What I like about this movie is that it's not serious. It knows what it is, and it's a horror comedy. It's almost like an answer to Human Centipede, which took itself way too fucking serious. That movie was so stupid and ridiculous and just like over the top that I feel like this was like an answer to that. Like, oh, okay, well, this is, and I find this movie way more enjoyable than Human Centipede is just a gag fest.
I've still never seen Human Centipede.
Oh, really?
Nope.
It's disgusting, and it's just stupid. I mean, you've seen the South Park episode. So
The South Park episode parodying Human Centipede, Human Cent iPad is arguably all I needed to see. Yes.
This movie, I think, solidifies Justin Long as like a horror icon. I mean, I would say
Scream King.
Scream King, yeah. I mean, he essentially is. Between this and Jeepers Creepers, if you just had those two movies alone,
Hello, Barbarian
too. But I'm just
Yeah.
saying, if you just took Jeepers Creepers, because Jeepers Creepers and Tusk are my two favorite Justin Long movies, just had those two. Then you throw in Barbarian. Then you throw in it's the other fucking stupid movie that
Dodgeball.
Yeah, he's
Dodgeball.
in
It's
Dodgeball.
It's funny
That's
how
great.
you went from Dodgeball to these movies.
Well,
Like,
comedy and horror go hand
Right,
in hand.
yeah.
I mean, this is a comedy horror.
it's just,
He plays the best douchebag ever.
oh
exists.
yeah.
Yeah,
He
he's
does it
good at that
so
role.
well. He's always a douchebag. Barbarian, he was a douchebag.
Oh, he was a big douchebag in Barbarian, but he was awesome in that too.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And the guy that plays Howard Howe is, I mean, if this movie wasn't so ridiculous and stupid, I'd put him up there for an Oscar, perhaps. No, some of his fucking monologue is so good.
If this movie had come out after The Lighthouse, I would say he's doing a Sam's Club Willem Dafoe impression. Pretty
But
much.
I think he's borderline better than Willem Dafoe. It's more
Oh,
believable. It's not as
man.
over the fucking top.
That's true. That's
Okay.
true.
All right, I understand.
I think he is this. If you would pick the wrong person to play that role, this movie would suck. His role is very important. It's probably the most important, more important than Justin Long's role.
Okay.
Because anyone can be put into a suit, like just the way he interacts with the Walrus, Mr. Tusk, Mr.
Mhm.
Tuskegee. It's just phenomenal. And his alter ego, that LaPointe meets.
Guy Lapointe.
The spider in my toilet. There's a big spider in there. I work for the young hockey team. That's right up the street. That's really the best part of the movie. I was like, I love this part.
This movie's so Canadian too.
So Canadian.
Yeah, it's like which of course is a big Kevin Smith thing, but like everything from obviously the Guy Lapointe character and just some of the dialogue, like when he what are the names of the people in the story that Guy Lapointe is telling? Is Gregory Gumtree?
Yeah,
I feel like fucking come the
Gregory
fuck on,
Gumtree.
Gregory Gumtree.
But he says that name and you go, yeah, that sounds like a Canadian.
Yep.
I mean, and the way he eats his burger,
Yes.
where he just like mashes the fuck out of it.
Yep. And he's pouring whatever's in his flask into his
some whiskey
milkshake.
into his
and-
milkshake.
Oh yeah. And he's smoking cigarettes in there the whole time. It just, it cracks me up. Michael Parks, though, by the way, underrated actor, one of those actors that's been used by a lot of, film nerd directors. He was one of the cops in From Dusk Till Dawn in the opening scene where Tarantino and George Clooney rob that convenience store.
Wow.
He's the cop that's in there and he's been in a bunch of stuff from Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez, and of course, Kevin Smith. So yeah, just an underrated actor, I'd say.
He's definitely got the craft
Sure does.
down.
Apparently, wow, I'm looking at his filmography right now. So he made it. He was in From Dusk Till Dawn and From Dusk Till Dawn 3, The Hangman's Daughter, which I've never seen. He was in the Kill Bill movies. He was in Planet Terror and Death Proof, Matthew.
Yep.
Django Unchained. And actually, Tusk was one of his final film roles.
Was this the first A24 movie? Did we say that?
Oh, I don't know about that. That's a very. I'll look that up. But
I think this was one of the first A24 horror movies.
it might have been one of the first.
Definitely is one of the first movies.
2014. Yeah,
Yeah.
Let me look that up. So,
I want to say Under the Skin was the first.
Oh,
Another movie
yeah, I
we'll
think
cover.
you're right, actually, yeah.
Kat, since you are our guest,
Yes.
or you're not our guest, but you're back for this episode.
Wow.
I'm back, baby!
I'm back, baby. We're gonna go nuts in here.
Yes, salmon croquettes are oily.
Talk to us about Tusk, Catherine, because I thought you could have gone one of two ways in this movie, and it certainly seems like you went one way that I was expecting you were going to go.
I liked this movie. It was definitely in the beginning. It took a little bit to pick up. I felt like for a while I was just watching it being like, when is something going to happen? Like, because Justin Long just kept making like, it was kind of frustrating to
I think it was only like 20 minutes.
no, I think it was a
Did
little
it even
longer
really
than
take that long?
I think so. And then it just got to like the next scene, and then like it just gradually progressed into like this wilder and wilder place, and you were just like, all right, okay, yep, I expected this to all happen like at some point. This is just crazy. So I mean, it definitely it fulfilled my expectations once I kind of understood what was going on, we'll say. And overall I liked that it was a comedic horror movie. It was nice. And I have like several questions that I don't want to mention right now, but
Okay.
when we get to like, can I ask these?
Can you
Of
can
course.
ask, why don't you ask
Like,
one now? Why
no,
don't we hear
no,
one?
no.
I want to hear one.
No,
just to
because it's
set the
it's
tone
way
for the
too
rest
far
of the episode.
into the movie.
Okay,
Like that
fair
I
enough.
don't want to.
Spoil the movie that's been out for
I
10
appreciate
years.
you thinking of that. So 24. So the first year that A24 started releasing movies was 2013. So this is definitely one of the
Okay.
first.
Oh, was it Enemy?
Enemy and Under the Skin both came before this. Matt, you called
That's
Under
right.
the Skin. Yeah. And
And
then
this came out what after that?
this came out in 2014 after that. Yep.
And then Ex Machina was right in there too. That movie fucking right. Oh, that was 2016.
Green Room came first. Yeah.
Green Room. Yep.
Yep. So, yeah, A24 just has had a number of bangers. And yeah, I honestly completely forgot that this was an A24 movie until we rewatched it the other night, Kat, because this it seems like it's a little bit too goofy for A24's taste. Because usually A24 is like the art house, deeper meaning, esoteric, weird, like heady horror, and this is very much not that. This is like a fucking feel good kind
know if
of
it's a feel-good.
funny, weird, like body horror, mostly comedy with some horror sprinkled in type of movie, I think.
It's got one of the bleakest endings of a movie that I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest.
Yep.
It
Certainly does. But it's so like I texted you guys after we watched it the other night. Like, I think no hyperbole, this might be one of the most ridiculous plots to a movie I've ever seen in my entire fucking life.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous that you can't help but enjoy it.
And it's based off of actual events. Actual events.
I have some information on that,
Events,
which I
right.
will get to.
Events.
Matthew, talk to us about Tusk, my friend.
Sure. So this was when I was like 18, 19, 20, 21, around that area. There was a period in time before streaming all came out, and these movies would come into select theaters. I had no way of seeing them. And it was the same thing with this. It was Green Room. It was, I remember Green Inferno was one that's not A24, but it was one I was trying to get my mitts on. And for a long time, I was like seeking this movie out to try and watch it. Finally, I found a way to see it. And I just remember laughing so hard at it, being like, this movie is so fucking insane. As funny as it is, it's incredibly disturbing.
Yeah.
When you separate like the goofiness from it, like to any kind of body horror, no matter what happens, I'm putting myself completely into it, being like, dude, like this guy is just destroyed this dude, physically obliterated this guy beyond any sort of physical recognition, and it is so fucking twisted and just out of control. This movie's it's great. I've talked about it before. I do enjoy this movie a lot. it is very much like Human Centipede. They make a great double feature. This is a trip. I like Kevin Smith. I like his. Mike, you said you weren't like a big fan, but I love like Clerks. I love Dogma, Jay and Silent Bob. Like I grew up on those movies, so this was an interesting take to see him kind of venture off and do something totally fucking bonkers and out of control.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like I'm in the minority there because you mentioned it, Matt. I kind of have no use for Kevin Smith outside of this movie. Like I appreciate
watch the original Clerks.
I've seen it a long time ago.
I like Mallrats. They do
Mallrats
the old
okay.
OG Clerks to rewatch.
Mystic Pizza. I mean,
I feel like I remember Dogma.
Jane Silent Bob. Like I know a lot of people loved. Like when I was growing up, a lot of that stuff. I'm trying to think of some of his other movies off the top of my head, but I mean, those are like the greatest hits of Kevin Smith, right? It just never really resonated with me personally. I don't think that he's a bad director by any sense. I know that his movies get a lot of hate, but it's very clear that he has a vision and a voice, and I feel like that comes through in a lot of his movies. I feel like a lot of his movies are very similar in like tone and the dialogue and that type of thing, which I can appreciate. I feel like you can when you're watching a Kevin Smith movie, I think. Mm-hmm. This one for me, this is just the epitome of like, we were talking about body horror, right? Body horror has always freaked me out because people mostly think about Cronenberg, and that type of body horror is your body destroying you from within. And this movie is somebody taking you against your will and destroying you against your will
within 2 days,
which is I think more horrifying. And when you're in that type of position, like I can't help but picture myself in that type of position. And like I mentioned at the top of the episode, but I Don't Want to Die in Canada, when he's making that panicked phone call when he finally gets his phone, like that's gotta be horrifying because like, hey, I'm trapped here. There's some old, like, I think there's no scarier like scene in this entire movie than when they are sitting at the dinner table, and Howard is talking about how he got bit by a spider, and that's how it just happened. Oh, it was a brown recluse, and all of a sudden he looks down and his leg is gone, and he starts screaming. And Howard starts mimicking his screams and making fun of him. And then he gets up out of his wheelchair and walks all the way down across the room and smacks him across the face. When you realize that he's fucking around the whole time. That's a scary thing. It's like scary. Yeah.
I think they had mentioned that he was possibly going to do a sequel to this like a year ago. Would have been that if like Howard Howe was a relative of the kid that cut off his leg that he was going to interview. I think the reason he was in Canada.
Oh, see, I hadn't heard about that.
What? No, I'm saying that would be a cool like.
Scene. Oh, that would okay.
Like, you just sold him on that so fast.
Yeah,
I was like, no, because you have the kid who cut off his own leg. It's apropos that he loses his own leg because he's going to make fun of this kid that cut off his leg with a sword.
Yes,
and now he gets his leg removed, and now Howard Howe's laughing at him.
Yes,
turning the tables without even knowing that that's how he is.
Yep.
But he deserves it. You don't feel bad for him at all. I don't feel bad for him even at the end. I never feel bad for Justin Long.
No, I mean, because Justin Long,
piece of shit.
He does a great job selling it as a douchebag, right? And I think I've said this numerous times. This is another horror movie that has absolutely no love for podcasters at all.
Oh, no.
None. Fucking every podcaster in every horror movie I've ever seen where there's podcasters, they're douchebags. It's so fucking funny, dude. It never fails.
Are we douchebags?
I don't think so.
I mean, we're probably douchebags.
We're douchebag
in a way. I don't think we're as douchey as some. I don't.
We're not the douchiest bags, but we are kind of.
No, we're cool.
Yeah, we fucking.
We're pretty nice.
We rock. I mean, I would think we're pretty nice.
Pretty nice.
I'm saying. I mean, I'm a dick, but I'm not like it's all in good jest and good fun.
That's also true.
It's all for chuckles and listens and likes and follows.
You want to go to my questions?
We're in the middle of a conversation. Why don't we just complete this conversation that we were just having?
Yeah, go ahead, and then we go to your questions after that.
No. We were just having. We were saying something, and then was the conversation
that horror movies are not kind to podcasters, and I think of this movie, and I think of the David Gordon Green, the first Halloween movie, where those British podcasters that go to interview, Laurie Strode, and they meet a very violent death in that bathroom of the gas station.
Every found footage made ever.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yep. Usually they're podcasters or YouTubers.
And one of them's always just like what was the one that we watched that we both really liked? And he was like, wasn't Butterfly Kisses, was it? Yes, it was.
Butterfly.
Where the guy's like just using up all the family's money, and he's like doing he's doing a documentary, but he's a piece of
that's
shit.
Butterfly Kisses.
Butterfly Kisses.
Yeah. Essentially,
he's the most unlikable human.
Yeah, robs his wife and his family's savings to be able to make this movie, and then it ends up.
They don't like people that try to
exploit things.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like that's the difference, right? Is we've never delved into trying to exploit anything for listenership or views or whatever, anything like that. We just talk about
exploited.
Stuff. Do you? You feel exploited?
I do,
I'm sorry if I ever made you feel exploited. All right, bye, Andrew.
See you. Bye.
All right, so I mean, I guess Tusk is 10 years old at this point, so we're beyond spoilers. We're not going to give a spoiler warning here. So I feel like it's fair at this point, Catherine.
Mm-hmm.
What are your questions about this movie?
All right. So.
I feel like it's pretty straightforward, so I'm very interested to hear what your questions are.
I can only imagine what these questions are.
How does it happen? How does he become a walrus? Does he take all of his skin off and then pump him with fat?
No.
Okay.
And then sew it back on?
That's not a dumb question.
How does
Andrew asked me the same question.
It made me a little curious because I must have missed it the other times I've seen the movie. He's a serial killer, obviously, so he's been killing a lot of people. So he's already built the suit.
Mm-hmm.
He's built the walls. So he does fuck his body up and do it so that he has to move essentially like a walrus, and he's got his tusks are made from his own leg bone.
I think. So my understanding is the legs that he cuts off are used for the actual tusks.
Because you can see him carving one while he's sitting there, which is even more wild of a fucking scene.
And
while
then
he's sitting there like I bit a brown recluse, he's like carving his fucking.
See,
leg.
I didn't know that was his leg.
Then,
if
you remember seeing any of the drawings that he had, like on his wall or in his laboratory, he takes his arms and he fuses them to the side of his body so that they're like flippers and he can't use his arms. And then he takes that walrus suit that he's built out of his
ears
previous
and
victims,
noses, and you can see all the parts of people's bodies.
And he seals him into that walrus suit and then cuts out his tongue so that he can't talk.
Yes.
And eventually, my understanding is that what is Justin Long's name even in this movie? I don't even remember.
Dale? No,
it's not Dale.
Whatever, Justin Long.
Anyway, Justin Long's character starts to lose his mind enough and be broken down to the point where he actually believes that he is a walrus. And that's why he proceeds to act that way and just flop around and grunt and eat raw fish.
Because my reasoning behind this is wouldn't when you find him try to see what happened to him and
that's what makes them
him,
no, that's what makes me so good. They're both like, you're such a piece of shit. We love you and we're sorry for you, but we're not going to help you. Fuck you.
Right.
And they just throw him, bring him his treat. And if you ever just go to your friend and you're like, bring him a treat and you brought him a fish.
They clearly loved him, but did not like him because
they would have got him out of the suit at least and tried,
right, exactly.
Instead of feeding him fish and having him live in a cold little thing.
But also,
that's a ruthless fucking thing.
How does he poop? How did things happen?
He poops in the suit. It's just full of shit.
In the suit?
The suit is just full of shit.
Now I'm thinking
You're thinking too hard.
I know, because then I'm like, okay, movie. I get it.
Yeah, because movie. But also you have to remember, so Justin Long's girlfriend is cheating on him with Haley Joel Osment behind his back.
So they're like,
so they clearly don't like or respect him.
Well, because he was cheating on her the whole time.
Was that ever?
Have you missed that? Yeah,
I missed that.
That's why she was cheating.
Oh yeah,
during her whole monologue when she's talking to Haley Joel Osment's
he's with
character,
all these other chicks,
and she's like, all he does is go and bang all these other chicks.
So I missed.
So she's basically she's degrading herself by being just as
I gotcha. Okay, so I must have missed that part, but okay. So anyway, whatever.
It's a lot. So like Matt was saying, this is a lot darker and bleaker and sad of a story because there's a lot of stuff in this that's not just your generic kind of funny horror. It's like, Jesus Christ, that's ruthless stuff.
Yep. Yeah. So that's how he got into the suit. In terms of pooping, not quite sure. I'm sure Mr. Howard Howe probably sewed something into him to be able to do something like that. If I had to guess, he thought of everything for Mr. Tusk.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, when he first goes in the water and he gets down to the bottom, you can see the other suit that's already been made with the
Oh,
scalp.
yeah.
It's like, holy shit.
Yep. Fuck.
That's got to be the most horrifying thing. So what made it, the first time I saw this movie, which made it even more upsetting, was that I thought that he somehow had made that out of his own skin, like that was his body.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, he just pushed him into this cold salt water with all those open wounds on his body. Like that must have hurt so bad. And then you're flopping around on cement. Yeah, that is like absolutely horrifying.
I don't think you'd live.
I would just drown.
That's like shock.
Why are you getting out of the water at that point?
Oh my God.
Kill me.
All right.
Yeah, you'd think.
Welcome to die.
Welcome to die. Welcome to die. Population, Justin Long. Okay, so what was your next question?
No, I think that covered most of my questions.
Oh, that was all your questions?
Yeah, that was several questions.
Oh, I thought you had multiple questions.
Well, I did, and they were spoken about.
So essentially it was what was the suit made of and how did he poop?
Suit? How did he
How to take a shit?
Did he, was it out of his own skin?
No.
Why didn't his friends help him? It was a lot of, there were several questions that were rolling.
Well, they hated him.
Right.
If they actually liked him, they would have helped him.
Right. Or
you wouldn't just leave him in there. And no one else, apparently no one found it necessary. The entire world knows that you're at this, unless he's just in some random, that's what's, okay, so there's another weird part about this movie. The zoo in place that he is, because it's clearly a big exhibit, a zoo.
Yep.
Who else knows?
Everybody knows that that's a guy, right? And they're just like, it's fine. Fuck that dude.
Yeah,
he's gone crazy.
Movie.
He actually thinks he's a walrus now, so we might as well exploit him to make money off of him.
I think you get a lot of exposition about the plot from the Guy Lapointe, Johnny Depp stuff. And he says that for many years he's been hunting the animal masquerading as the man. And, I was so close.
Okay, but hold on.
That I could smell his shit.
Because at one point, what's his face and him get into a walrus fight, correct?
I think, yes.
Mr. Tusk.
Yes.
There is a point,
so
a walrus
fight. He gets in the same suit.
That's just also from victims.
But he can get out of it.
Maybe there's Velcro.
Because he didn't. Well, he also didn't cripple himself and fuse his arms together. He can get out of it because he wasn't massacred with no legs left.
That's what I mean.
And have his own bone. The fact that he had his own bone sutured into his own mouth is fucked. And what are the whiskers? What does he use for the whiskers?
That's a very good question.
That's what I wanted. Because it looks like it's from a large broom.
It looks very, It
looks awful.
It
doesn't look like head hair, that's for sure. It looks like something long and bristly. Yeah.
Which did he just jam that into his face? Like other part, that must have hurt so bad.
Yeah.
I'm sure the whole thing did not feel great, if I had to guess.
He was drinking a lot of tea, so maybe he's okay.
Yep. I don't know. I mean, some questions just don't have answers.
Yeah,
I just don't know.
Some of my questions, I don't think they have answers.
This is also one of those movies I wouldn't look for answers in most.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, I have to point out, Kat, I'm very happy that you did choose to wear your Fleetwood Mac shirt tonight, whether that was intentional or not for this episode.
It really wasn't
Tusk.
actually. But...
Also, probably one of the worst Fleetwood Mac songs.
Yeah.
That song sucks.
When they put the song on when we went to go see them, we left.
It's a bogus song, and they were fucking all coked out when they wrote that in the late 80s, early 90s. That song stinks. That's like their worst song. Gotta be. But obviously famous because it's so weird, and they used the USC Trojan marching band in that song. That's where all the percussion comes from.
How droll
indeed. All right, you guys want to hear a little bit behind the scenes stuff about this movie?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well, too bad, Catherine.
We'll see how many walrus cocks were actually used in this movie.
So I mentioned this at the beginning, but so the idea for this film came from Kevin Smith's podcast called Smodcast, episode 259, which is called The Walrus and the Carpenter. Basically, in this episode, Smith and his longtime friend and producer Scott discussed an article featuring a Gumtree ad where a homeowner was offering a living situation free of charge if the lodger agreed to dress as a walrus. This ended up being a prank, but they were reading about it, and this is how the movie came to be. It's basically based on this idea. The discussion went on from there, resulting in almost an hour of the episode being spent on reconstructing and telling a hypothetical story based on the ad. Smith then told his Twitter followers to tweet hashtag Walrus yes if they wanted to see this turned into a film, or hashtag Walrus no if they did not. And a vast majority of people said yes. Hashtag Walrus yes.
It's almost like hashtag Tortuga.
Hashtag Tortuga takeover.
Let's go.
That's fucking wild to me. Yeah. Hey, podcast people. That would be like if I mean, obviously Kevin Smith's a more popular podcaster than we are, but if we were like, hey guys, if you want to have a Tortuga takeover movie made, tweet hashtag Tortuga yes.
Yeah, that's basically what I did.
Tortuga. No.
Tortuga, yeah.
Oh my god.
Just because he's got his own phone with Ted Danson.
Want to hear something really wild?
Sure.
Yeah.
Good.
Only if it's really wild.
It's really wild.
I want to hear.
I'm going to tell you
wet,
anyway.
wild,
Like
and
wicked
crazy.
wild?
So I talked about the connection between Michael Parks and Quentin Tarantino. Originally, the role of Guy Lapointe, before it went to Johnny Depp, was offered to Quentin Tarantino. To which I
That'd
say,
be cool.
Boo! I say boo to that.
boo and bogus. What were you saying, Matt?
I thought that would have been cool. He's got some funny little cameos that he's in.
He does, but do you think he could have pulled that off?
Oh, 100%.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
I find him annoying when he acts, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
I find him condescending as fuck, and I don't. And it's like, you're kind of a nerdy.
he's kind of, he's got a whiny voice, but
Kind of
that's just
annoys
kind of
me.
how he is. I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, I like movies.
fantastic. I love his movie. I'm not
Yeah.
but I don't need him in. Like, I would prefer this the way it was, because I feel like he doesn't help the film. I get why he does it, and I'm fine with that, but I don't think.
I think Johnny Depp was perfect casting, but it would have been interesting
Well, wait,
to
do
see
you know why?
Tarantino.
Do you know why he? You know, in Dawn Till Dusk, the scene with Salma Hayek where he's doing a shot down her leg.
Oh yeah.
They redid that take like 70 times.
Oh, I'm not surprised because
Which I don't blame him for it, but
Tarantino-
that's kind of fucking weird.
Quentin Tarantino loves feet.
Yeah, that's a weird fucking thing to say.
Of all the things to love about Salma Hayek, her feet, I would not understand. I don't really get that. I don't know. I mean,
Well, if he was doing
An attractive
shots off her
woman.
tif that would go to.
Yeah,
I don't know if
yeah.
this isn't a fucking Skinamax movie. Like, you can't be just doing fucking.
I mean, they're called body shots. People do them out of girls' like belly buttons and shit.
Oh, I know what they're
You do
called,
that.
but this is a movie,
Yeah, true.
and he probably would get fired. They'd be like, "All right,
Yeah.
it's enough, Harvey. Get out of here."
Anyway, so Tarantino, I guess, basically turned it down because he said he liked the script and he actually had heard that Michael Parks had been offered the role and said he couldn't wait to see him in the role. Kevin Smith said in an interview that Tarantino actually thought he was being offered the role of Wallace, which he thought he was being offered the Justin Long role, which could not have seen that. Which is that's actually the true story according to Kevin Smith. Which I don't know. Take what you will, grain of salt. I don't know. Anywho, yeah, guys, what else on Tusk? What else?
What else, indeed? Stuff to.
I mean, if we don't have anything else, we don't need to continue the conversation. If we've,
I mean, it is
exhausted
the most
conversation.
cringe of podcasts that you could possibly. Right, we can all agree that podcast is.
Yeah, they're brutal.
The Not See podcast. Yeah, probably. Yeah. I would probably consider it on par with like Jake Paul and Logan Paul YouTube streams, that type of thing.
So
Probably
terrible.
cringy, douchey bullshit. Yeah.
No.
Absolutely. Okay, fair enough. So actually Greg Nicotero from The Walking Dead was the first choice to do the special effects on this, but because of his obligations with The Walking Dead, was not
What?
able to do it.
Wait, they're not still making one.
No, but this movie was made in 2014.
Oh.
Yeah, so he wasn't able to do it because of The Walking Dead. And actually, Robert Kurtzman, his friend and partner, was the one that did all the effects on this. And let's see. We should probably talk about the year 2014 in horror. How about that, guys? What do you think about that? Wanna do
Sounds
that?
good to daddy.
Okay.
Oh, daddy.
Daddy.
Oh, daddy.
Oh,
Oh, daddy.
Let's delay everything as much as possible because Mike is trying to find.
Oh, I was just saying it because I thought it was
Oh,
fun.
can I get a
Daddy. Daddy long legs.
All right, let's see here. The year 2014 in horror, we had. There's some bangers in here, okay? One of them is not the ABCs of Death 2. No thanks.
No.
We also got Annabelle, the first Conjuring spin-off movie that came out. That was also 2014. Catherine, we also got As Above, So Below in
Love that movie.
2014.
Great movie.
Another movie that was talked about on our Rotten Horror Draft last time you were on.
Yes,
Mhm.
I picked it.
Guys, speaking of Mr. Tusk, Mr. Babadook came out in 2014. Banger.
Mr. Babadook, Mr. Babadook.
A fave.
I actually rewatched that recently, and that movie still fucking holds up.
That movie's scary. Generally scary. The characters are annoying as fuck, but
Yeah.
it's a scary movie.
For sure.
The little kid I can't stand.
Matthew, have you ever seen Cabin Fever, Patient Zero?
No.
I'll say that came out in 2014. Haven't seen
You're
it
seeing
yet.
this random.
I know you like Cabin Fever. I didn't know if you'd seen
Yeah,
it.
I've only seen the first one, the second one, and then like the random remake that they did.
Yep. There was an Irish horror film that came out in 2014 called The Canal. Actually, pretty good. Underrated.
Haven't seen that.
Not bad. You seen that?
No.
No? Okay. Andrew, Creep,
Creeps,
2014.
motherfucking absolute banger.
So
Classic.
Creep. Yeah, I'll just creep
We don't-
on
it's
to the
not
next
karaoke.
one. Nope, I know.
Go on.
Thanks, Kat, for the reminder. I didn't really know that. I thought it was karaoke the whole time we were on this podcast. I just
No,
blacked out and I've been
sir.
talking about this movie for an hour and 7 minutes. I didn't realize it wasn't karaoke. Thank you so much for your input. Also in 2014, Deliver Us from Evil from Scott Derrickson, who went on to direct Sinister.
I like
Anybody
this
seen that
one. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's got some good, crazy good jump scare in the middle of it.
Scott
Big fan.
Derrickson's a pretty good director.
Yeah.
I like his stuff. So I haven't seen it yet, but I would definitely check it out.
Who was in this again? Camille?
It's got Eric Bana and
That's what- oh, yeah, I have
Joel
seen
McHale.
Okay, yep.
Joel McHale.
Yeah, this movie wasn't bad. I think I only saw it once forever ago, so I'd have to like.
Also in 2014, A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. Anyone?
I might have seen it, but it wasn't memorable.
One of those movies that I've always seen the poster for, and it's been in a watch list on one of my streaming services forever, and I've never actually pulled the trigger. So haven't seen that one.
It's the red
Looks
poster,
cool, huh?
right?
Yes, and I've heard it's actually a pretty good vampire movie.
Okay.
Foreign vampire movie. I, Frankenstein, I say no thank you. One of the first movies we ever covered on this podcast, and I honestly think we should, we've talked about this before when we're all together. Some of the older movies that we've covered when we first started, we should revisit
sure.
with new sound and new crew. But
I'm
It
all in.
Follows. It
Oh, yeah.
Follows in 2014.
Oh, It Follows. We were going to do its sequel too.
It Swallows.
It Swallows,
that-
yeah.
I'm sorry to step on your toes. Also in 2014, we got Oculus, which is one of the first Mike Flanagan films, which is pretty good. Not bad. We got Paranormal Activity, the marked ones, and I say no thanks. The Purge, Anarchy. One of
Yeah.
the better Purge movies.
Oh, is it?
Mhm.
I think I've only seen one.
Yep.
And I didn't like it.
Yep, that's a good one.
Oh, Purge movies are good.
Andrew, Starry Eyes.
Phenomenal.
Yep, very good
Yes.
one. The Town That Dreaded Sundown, which is a remake.
I've seen it. It's.
I've only seen the old one.
This is forgettable.
Forgettable.
How forgettable, not unforgettable. How forgettable.
Very forgettable.
We also got the What We Do in the Shadows movie, not the TV series.
The movie's
that
solid.
came out in
Movie's
2014. Yep, the movie's great, but the series is better. The series
Much
has
better.
by far surpassed the movie, I think, without a doubt. And the top performing movie at the horror box office in 2014 was Annabelle, followed by Ouija, which is one I didn't mention because not that great. Deliver Us from Evil at 3, Oculus at 4, As Above, So Below at 5, Devil's Due at 6, The Woman in Black 2.
See, I like the original, the first Woman in Black.
Woman in Black, the first one was good.
Yeah.
The Quiet Ones at 9. Oh, and The Pyramid. Actually, that's an underrated found footage mummy movie. Pretty goddamn good, I will say. That's one worth checking out. The Pyramid, and then let's see if there's anything else here that I missed. Ooh, Horns, the Daniel,
Oh, I like
another
Horns.
Daniel
Oh, yeah.
Radcliffe movie. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a
it's
Joe
good.
Hill book too.
Yes, it is. Here's one that I can't believe I missed. Ty West's The Sacrament, another found footage movie that is loosely based on the Jonestown Massacre. That movie fucking
We-
rocks.
Yeah, we watched
Oh yeah, that movie's not
That was-
bad.
we
It's got the guy
podcasted
from
about
No Country for Old Men as the main
Yes,
character.
yep. The guy behind the counter at the
It's
convenience
random.
store in No Country for Old Men plays the guy, the Jonestown guy. And then let me see if there's anything else here.
Born in Temple, Texas.
VHS Viral.
Last
I
Shift
love-
was 2015.
Oh, Last Shift was too. Okay, that's not on here, so
That's-
I missed that one.
Still
VHS
better.
viral smells. That was not a good movie, even though I love that franchise. So,
Raw?
not the best. We talked about Raw
Oh,
already.
okay. I didn't know
Yep.
if you passed
Yep.
that.
We not the best year in horror.
That's
but
I
there are
think a
some-
couple years later.
Raw. Let me see. Hold on.
Roar. Oh, I thought you said Raw for some reason.
Roll.
It's
Oh,
2000.
2016. Yeah, Matt was
okay.
right.
I thought you
I think
said.
that's
I thought you said
2016.
Roar.
Roar.
You were just going.
Roar.
Goodnight Mommy was another good one
That was 2014.
from 2016. Yeah.
Okay. All right. All
Good
right.
morning, mommy.
Well, I think if we've exhausted all discussion on Tusk, I will leave you with this. The words of Howard Howe. A life of adventure with stories to tell. Hello, I am an old man who has enjoyed a long and storied life at sea. I'm a proud Canadian who has traveled a particular path for many years. And after ions of an oceanic adventure, I find myself a landlubber with Manitoba as my final port. I know I do not wish to spend my remaining years alone in a giant house. Not when I have such stories to tell. So to this end, I'm offering a room for rent in my stately woodland home. This arrangement will be free of charge, providing you perform simple household chores I can no longer attend to from the confines of this cursed wheelchair. But though I might be old, I have lived. I will tell you about all my many adventures in vivid detail. Please feel free to call me at the number below. Respectfully, Howard Howe.
I think that might be how I retire. Just find myself a little place.
In a wheelchair and lure people over to your house.
Lure
to
some boys over for an evening
turn them into a
in.
wall.
And
Turn
turn
them
them
into a
into
wall.
just tortugas. maybe?
Tortugas.
Takeover.
Yes.
Want to come over? I'm having
Tortuga?
tortuga soup
What?
tonight.
You want to
And
come
you
over?
all the main goals fell.
You see, I was stranded in a sewer one time, and my friends Splinter, Leonardo, Raphael, Donatello, and Michelangelo helped me out of a bind. So I'm turning you into a Tortuga. Take over. Oh.
My grandfather
My
was
name is-
massacred on this movie Cannibal
My
Holocaust
name is Casey
50
Jones.
years ago. I shall gain my revenge as I kill them all.
Oh, God. All right. Anything else,
I think
lady and
that's
gentlemen?
all I got.
right. All
Yeah,
right,
this
good
is a
stuff.
fun one.
Yeah, this is a fun movie. I mean, I feel like, as I said about the critical and audience scores on
This is
Rotten
one of those
Tomatoes,
movies that it's
Like, come
just,
on.
what are we doing?
Come
I know it's
on,
Canadian, but take it easy.
as Peter Griffin would say. Come on, come on.
I'm happy that my questions really didn't have answers. I figured they didn't, but I figured maybe I missed something.
I feel like your questions had definitive answers that we gave to you.
No, not about how the soup is made and stuff.
The soup?
I mean, you don't really know.
The
You
soup?
don't really
Did you say
know.
the soup,
The
or
soup.
the suit?
His suit, the wall.
We know how he
versus
made it. He
the
made it
suit.
from the skins of.
No, but I mean, like, no, never mind. It's because movie. I mean, that's.
What do
really,
you
like,
want? Like, this isn't the
I want,
Parsons
like,
School of
I
Design.
wanna
They're
know
not going to
how
show you
he-
this. How this
like,
is
She
made.
wants to know how he goes to the bathroom out of the suit. That's the one that she.
Do
I
you
wanna
ever
know
see it?
how he
Do you
made it.
watch movies where people go to the bathroom? Most people don't go to the
Yeah.
bathroom.
Yeah, people pee on movies all the time.
People pee on movies.
Yes,
Pee on movies.
I think that's against the law.
Pee in
I think
movies,
you're not allowed to
in
pee on movies.
films.
It's like burning the American flag. You can't pee on movies. The FBI does not.
Okay.
Under penalty of death.
It's like taking the tag off a mattress. It says you're gonna get arrested.
Not very good. It's piracy, except it's piracy.
Well,
It's different.
I'd be in deep trouble if anybody raided my house and saw my mattress. So that's well said.
What if I rip the skin off a human? That's fine.
Yep.
That's
Just
fine.
not-
So
not-
take
not
that
the tag off the mattress.
mattress.
No. Wow, we're really grasping at tusks here at the end of this one, folks.
Yeah.
Ooh. All right,
I was grasping at wieners.
okay, let's get the fuck out of here. All right, my name's Mike. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of America's Hometown Horror. Thanks so much. We appreciate it. I've been joined by Matthew, Cathew, and Andrew. Guys, it's time to say bye-bye to everybody else. Say bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Get that spider for me, my bash. Are you gonna shoot that spider? You can kill the spider. See my bastard.
Okay,
This is just you guys.
Off
You
the
don't
Like-
off the rails. This is what this movie does to us. But anyway, all
I
right.
just give the
Bye.
guys water when they're skating on the ice, so it feels like from the water break.
Hey everyone, it's Mike from America's Hometown Horror, and I want to say thanks again for listening to another episode of our show. If you're interested in more local Plymouth podcasts, I'd highly recommend you check out the shows from our friends over on the Inebriart Podcast Network. In addition to America's Hometown Horror, you can find shows from Inebriart, The Old Colony Cast, Bar Talk, Theme Park Legends, and Retro Redoctopus, so head on over and give them a listen.